Hey everyone, Fantasy Dancer here, and we're back with some more variations. This week's variation is on the casino. So in Monday's video I mentioned that Hugo, Ensslin, and Craddock actually agreed on this recipe. The other part they agreed on was that it's supposed to be made with Old Tom gin. Now we didn't do that on Monday because the bottle of gin we have in our bar is our Beefeater Gin here. So we're going to try it with our Old Tom gin and see what kind of a difference it makes. Not as dry as Monday for sure. You definitely get that sweet, extra sweetness from the Old Tom gin. Some really nice botanical notes in there. Yeah, overall just not as dry and definitely on the sweeter side. It comes across smoother than Monday's drink, so I think this is kind of the way it was supposed to be made, and I'm gonna have to agree. But that is our Old Tom Casino. So we use 1 1/3 of an ounce of Old Tom gin, 1/3 of an ounce of orange bitters, 1/3 of an ounce of Maraschino Liqueur, and 1/3 of an ounce of lemon juice. Now for our second variation, we want to try something to get a little bit more of that orange flavor out. So we actually used our Malfy's blood orange flavored gin and left out the bitters completely. So we're gonna see what that does. Definitely more dry. I mean, we've used this gin before, we know it's a drier gin, especially comparing to an Old Tom, but the difference is kind of shocking to the palate. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say this is not a good way to use this gin. We've used it in times before where it turns out really, really well. It's too dry for me. I'm not a huge fan. It's still got a cool flavor with the orange there, but it's definitely not my favorite version of this drink. But this one was 1 2/3 of an ounce of Malfy's blood orange gin, 1/3 of an ounce of Maraschino Liqueur, and 1/3 of an ounce of lemon juice. And for our last variation, we've got this one on the end here. We actually substituted the bitters for Cointreau. Now the reason I did this is because when I was first trying to find orange bitters, it took me weeks to find a liquor store that carried them. And because of that, I figured it might be good to try something that might get a similar effect, because Cointreau is more of a bitter orange liqueur. It's not as sweet as other ones. We're gonna see if that makes a good substitute if you can't find orange bitters for yours. Actually, that's not bad. We used our Beefeater Gin on this one, so the Cointreau being a little bit sweeter than the orange bitters actually makes it taste a little bit closer to how it tastes with the Old Tom. Semi-sweet, not as dry, pretty smooth. I see that's a pretty good option. My cameraman wants to try it, sorry. So we'll go over the ingredients for this one in a second. But I don't know if you noticed, but he's been slowly stealing the different drinks to get his take on it. And do we have a verdict? You like the orange one. All right, so obviously it's just me. Like I've mentioned before, I like the sweeter drinks. So if you like the drier drinks, it's still a good one. It's not for me. But anyways, back to our Cointreau Casino. This one is bitter free. So we used 1 1/3 ounce of our Beefeater Gin, 1/3 of an ounce of Cointreau, 1/3 of an ounce of Maraschino Liqueur, and 1/3 of an ounce of lemon juice. So for me, it's hard to decide for me what my favorite is between the three. I like both of these, but I'm gonna have to say this one's my favorite just because it's really, truly the original recipe. Well, I hope you like this video and enjoy the drinks. Subscribe to follow along, check out some of our other videos we post Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Please drink responsibly.